Hi YouTube, it's Melly's VSG 2012, coming to you with an update from yesterday's video. I did let you guys know that I was having an issue with, well, it wasn't an issue, I wasn't hurting, there was nothing going on with me physically, I didn't feel bad or anything. My issue is that my weight loss has slowed down so dramatically, so drastically. And I'm doing the right things by eating right, and I was doing, the exercise and everything. So they had me do a swallow test on Friday, and if you check out my last video, kind of explain why I was stressed out. So to jump right into things, I went to the doctor's office this morning. Pretty much my stomach was in knots. I didn't even eat till like 11 o'clock today, which is like a no-no for us sleevers. We're supposed to eat like every 2 or 3 hours. I had basically missed 2 meals because my stomach was just in knots, and I was so worried. I actually was greeted by, instead of my regular nurse and the doctor at first, they had some students come in, a PA student, and actually I think the other girl, I think she was doing her internship or something she was becoming a doctor, and I was fine with that. They went through the questions and stuff, and I was just like, I'm nervous. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, do I make you nervous? I was like, no. I was like, I'm just here for these results, and I'm just so scared that I've done something wrong. And then he's like, well, I can't really, I'm not supposed to say this, but he's like, I overheard them talking, I think everything's fine, I don't, that you can calm down. As soon as he said that, I was like, it felt so much better. So doctor came in. They stayed, was like a big group kind of thing today. I mean, of course, I don't mind. I don't care. But the nurse went in there, Amy, which I love, and then Dr. Shea came in and talked to me and basically kind of discussed something that was a little surprising to me and unexpected. Now, this was never revealed to me after the surgery, and I don't know why. I don't know if it was something like didn't want to worry me, or maybe it's not a big deal. Maybe this is more common than what I think. But he told me that he looked at my stomach and he said that I hadn't stretched it. I was like, okay, but then they explained to me why my stomach looked different from a normal sleeve. And he drew a little picture for me, and you have to kind of, hopefully kind of see it. He's not the best artist in the world, but neither am I. So he kind of just drew this picture for me and said that usually the sleeve is cut like this, and because of the way that my stomach was positioned, he said when I went under, he said my liver was shrunk, everything was great. He said, but the way my stomach was, that was going to be a very sharp, cutting it very close, a very sharp cut, and he was scared that by doing that, there was a higher chance for me to have a leak in my stomach. So when he did it, he had more of an angle, a little bit wider. So I have this little pouch here, and that's what I was seeing in the picture that I was seeing. I was seeing this little pouch here, which is not normal to have. Now he said that, it was a call that he had to make because he didn't want to take any chances, especially when it was under the knife. He wasn't gonna like bring me back up, and then another day, schedule the surgery for another day. It was a judgment call that he made because he felt comfortable. He didn't feel comfortable cutting it so close and doing that to me. So he personally, as a doctor, made that decision. I'm okay with that. I mean, I just wish that I would have known. Nobody ever told me, and even the nurse said that he had mentioned it after surgery. That it was a difficult surgery because of the amount of weight, how heavy I was, and how I carried a lot of my weight in my stomach, that it was actually a very difficult surgery for him, and that he thought in the future I would probably need a revision. So I didn't know about that until now, but I'm relieved that I don't have any leaks. If that was the difference, just making it a little bit bigger, I've had great results with it. If that was, I'd rather be healthy and have him do something that he's comfortable with than for him to mess something up and then be suffering for the rest of my life or, whatever. So I'm okay with that. A little, disappointed that I wasn't told about this. But they said that it wasn't anything to do with me. They told me that I was like a model student, doing everything right, and So that made me feel like so much better, knowing that, you know, I hadn't failed myself. You know, there was circumstances beyond his control, beyond my control, so, you know, I'm okay with that. Now, he told me that I could have a revision. He said that basically my stomach kind of looks like this. The sleeve is kind of like this, and it goes out just a little bit. And he said that they could go, and it's a very easy procedure. He said it's like an in and out procedure, so I don't know if that means I'd just stay one night and be gone the next day, or if it's like do it in the morning and gone at night. I'm not sure. You do have to do the liquid diet all over again, and mine would be another 2 weeks of liquid diet and then 2 weeks after. So that was something that I have to think about. And he said with that, with the exercise and everything, I mean, I could go down probably another 30 or 50 pounds compared to what I would go down with what I have now. Not to say that this is not going to work any longer, not to say any of that. The other thing that he brought to my attention, and this has really put me in a weird position. He offered to do the Duodenal switch. I don't know how you say it. The switch. I know it's not like the bypass, a little bit different. It's similar to the bypass, but not exactly the bypass. And he thought that I would be really successful with that if I chose to do that, if I'm not seeing the results, if I was not happy with the results now. And the thing with Dr. Shea is that he is a very kind-hearted man, and he is just very easy to love. And he wasn't forceful about it. He didn't say that this is something that he thought I needed. This was something with my frustrations and myself, that with the amount of weight that I have left to lose, he thought that if I did the other surgery, I would probably be down to a very normal weight. Like, probably the next year, I would probably be down to like 120, when I'm supposed to weigh 120, 130. I mean, realistically, that's where I would be with that surgery. I did ask a lot of questions about it. I'm going to have to do a lot of research on it and think about it. I don't want to jump into anything. I don't know if I want another surgery. And he's not saying that I need another surgery. He said if I wanted to just do this, the revision, that I could do that. And if I wanted to go in a different route, he'd be more than willing to do that as well. Basically, my food, eating, and habits and everything would be the same as that one. But this one has the malnutrition, malabsorption that he said that maybe I would need to go to, he goes, it depends on how much weight I want to lose. And I asked the nurse, I was like, well, why wasn't this presented to me? Why wasn't this, pushed to me, like before I had the sleeve? Why didn't I just go to this or to a bypass rather than going to sleeve? And she was like, being realistic with me, and she told me I would have been a very high risk to do that. And she goes, you don't want to go from one extreme to, another extreme so fast. She's like, you want to try something in the middle. And she's like, Melissa, he doesn't mean that you have to do this or the revision. He's just letting you know what your options are in case it comes to that point. I can wait another year and see how it goes, but realistically, my weight has slowed down. It's probably going to be at this pace. They told me that I'm normal. They weighed me today and told me I lost like 10 pounds or 8 pounds in the last 3 weeks, which 10 pounds a month is normal. So I'm losing it I'm normal. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm completely normal. As a sleeve patient, I'm normal. So this duodenal switch, I have a lot to think about. I just found all this information out. Even after he told me, I was very teary-eyed and because when I thought I had the sleeve, that was the end of it. And not saying that I can't make the sleeve work for me. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing right. I just have to realize that it's going to be at a much slower speed. Most people on here, when they have the sleeve, they're at a different weight than me. Most people have the sleeve, they're at the weight that I'm at now. 285, 286. You're about that weight, or most people. I was 100 pounds heavier. I was almost 400 pounds. So, sometimes I think that I should have had a bypass, but then I get so scared of that dumping syndrome. And they said the reason he said that he doesn't recommend the gastric bypass for me is because I can have the switch and not have the dumping syndrome. He said that when he does the bypass on a patient from a sleeve, it's usually because they need that that dumping syndrome to keep them from eating. I don't have that issue of overeating. I don't have the issue of I follow the rules to a T. You know, 99% of the time I do. I mean, of course, everybody makes mistakes, and I've done things that probably are wrong that I shouldn't have done, of course. But it's not like a constant thing. It's like a, you know, it happened once or twice kind of thing. So, you know, he thinks I'm a good candidate for that if I chose to do this. The thing between the two is, if I choose to do this and I'm not happy with the weight loss, and he has to put me under the knife again for the switch, that's 2 surgeries that he wants me to avoid. But then he said, you know, you might only need the revision, and he thinks with the revision, he thinks I would be successful. But he's like, really, ultimately, it depends on how much weight you want to lose and at the rate you want to lose it at. I mean, you know, and I talked to him and I gave him a hug and I told him, thank you for giving me my life back. And even after he left and had gone to another client, I stayed around and was looking through the closet, and he said that he overheard me talking about my emotional struggles with this, and he came and he gave me a hug, and he's like, I heard you say about the emotional, he's like, and I don't want you to in any way think that you did something wrong. He's like, you're exercising, you're eating right. He's like, you are like, you know, you're like what I want all my sleeve people to be like. And he told me that when he saw my sleeve and someone else's sleeve at my at 9 months out, he told me that mine looked pretty much really close to what it looked like after surgery. Mine is like really, he's like one of the best ones that he has seen. So that made me feel really good and optimistic about that. And I don't know, I talked to my mom and have to talk to my family and maybe talk to the therapist and think about what I want to do when the next step is from here. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait a year before I do the revision. If I do the revision, maybe I'll wait a year and do the switch. I don't know what I want to do yet. This information was just all presented to me. I don't want to rush into things. He doesn't want me to rush into things. He wants me to think about these things before making a decision if I decide to do any of it, you know. Like I said, he's very kind-hearted, and I don't want you guys to think that he was being pushy or pushing this on me at all. He just wanted me to be realistic with myself. And he wanted me to understand. And literally, most doctors push you in and out. I think he was there sitting down with me for about 30 minutes at least. The nurse sat longer, of course. She always does. And I understand he had patience. But just to know that he came, saw me, that I was still there, stepped in there, gave me a hug, and told me that, you know, I was doing a great job, that he didn't want, and even Rhea told me again, I don't want you to think I'm pushing you into anything. He's like, I want to help you get to the goal that you want to get to. What is it that you want? Are you happy? If you're happy with the weight loss now, he's like, I'm not saying that you're not going to get to a good weight with this. I don't know. You're only 9 months out. We don't want to rush things. You can wait another year and see where this goes. But he's like, just so you know, your insurance would pay for the switch because you're still at a high BMI that you would qualify for that. They would pay for the revision. This is something that you have to think about, if you're satisfied with what you're getting, because he's like, you're doing everything right. And I hugged him and I told him, thank you for helping me getting my life back. And he looked at me and hugged me and he told me no. He's like, you don't need to thank me. He's like, you getting your life back and you doing what you're doing, he's like, that's all you. So it made me feel really, really good to hear that from him. So I'm going to be all emotional and cry again because I promise you I'm not usually very emotional, super emotional like this, but I swear since I've started this journey, I cry all the time. And not always for bad things, a lot of times for good things. So, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I will keep you guys posted. I just thought I'd come on here and give you the update. It's a lot of information. I know it's probably a lot of information for you guys to take in. Can you imagine what I feel like right now? So, I'm going to really research this and think about this and